So, XPENG unveils this new humanoid robot, and the internet just loses its mind. I mean, it moved with this fluid, natural grace, kind of like a runway model. So much so that millions of people were absolutely convinced it had to be fake. Okay, let's dive into this, because what happened next was straight out of a movie.
The comments were just relentless. Fake! CGI! It's a person in a suit. So, in front of a live audience of 3,000 people, with cameras rolling, the CEO does something nobody saw coming. He looks over at his engineers and gives this simple, shocking command. Cut it open.
And you see a blade press into the robot's arm, and its synthetic skin just peels back. But underneath, there's no blood, no bone, just this incredibly complex exoskeleton of motors and mechanical muscles, actuators, all whirring with power. The entire room just went silent. This was the XPENG iron, and it was very, very real.
Right, so the big question here is, how on earth did a car company build a machine so convincing that it fooled millions of people? That's exactly what we're going to break down in this explainer.
You know, it wasn't just the walking. It was the little things, the subtle sway of the hips, the way it gestured with its hands, all the tiny movements we do without even thinking. The online world just wasn't buying it. The consensus was pretty clear. It had to be a person in a suit or a really good CGI video. But no, it wasn't fake. It was actually the result of a secret, super high-stakes project that had been in the works for years. So let's pull back the curtain and see how they actually pulled this off. XPeng secretly kicked this project off way back in 2020. And by early 2024, what they had was, well, it was a prototype that could barely walk. It was clumsy, it was slow, it stumbled over flat surfaces, it looked like pretty much every other robot prototype we've all seen. But then, something changed. Dramatically. $7 billion. That's what changed. The CEO became totally obsessed, saying that building a humanoid was infinitely harder than building a car. Think about it. A car has one steering wheel. A human body has hundreds of joints that all need to coordinate perfectly in real time. This massive flood of cash was aimed at solving that exact problem. And this is how they cracked it. They threw out their old approach and pivoted to a brand new AI model. They call it Vision Language Action 2.0, and it's basically the robot's brain. It lets Iron see something and just react instantly. No more processing text commands first. It's all visual, all instinct. And that, right there, was the software key that unlocked everything. So with that AI breakthrough in place, they could finally revolutionize the hardware. So what's actually inside Iron that makes it move in a way that feels so human? The level of detail here is just, it's incredible. Okay, so a human body has around 360 joints. Iron's hand, just its hand alone, has 22. This gives it dexterity so ridiculously precise, it can thread a needle on the very first try. I mean, think about that for a second. Can you do that? And that's not all. This thing has a bionic spine, which is what gives it that natural hip rotation. It's got synthetic muscles that mimic our own. And get this, solid-state batteries, a first for humanoids, by the way, which are lighter, safer, and last way longer. On top of all that, you've got a 720-degree vision system with 0 blind spots and spatial audio that can pinpoint exactly where a sound is coming from in a crowded room. But maybe the most controversial feature, the one that really got people talking, is its skin. It's a touch-sensitive synthetic material that can actually detect pressure and temperature. The engineers literally called it huggable because they wanted people to feel safe interacting with it, not like they were touching a cold, hard machine. And yeah, as you can imagine, that opened up a whole new can of ethical worms. But while the internet was debating the ethics of huggable robots, Iron was already clocking in for its first day of work. So, where is this technology actually being deployed right now? Well, the rollout is happening in phases. Right now, it's already working on XPeng's own factory floors, doing these mind-numbingly precise quality checks. The next step, which is planned for late 2026, is to put them in retail stores. And the really long-term goal? That's to get Iron into our homes and hospitals, helping out with elder care and daily chores. And you should know, this is not some small boutique project. XPeng's plan is incredibly aggressive. They want to be producing 1 million of these humanoids per year by 2030. Now, to put that into perspective for you, that's more than half the number of cars Tesla delivered in all of 2023. It's a lot. And that kind of scale brings us to the really tough conversation, the unavoidable economic reality. What happens when a robot this capable costs less to employ than a human being?
Let's just look at the raw numbers here, because they don't lie. A human retail worker might cost a business, say, $40,000 a year in salary and benefits. Iron has a one-time cost of under $30,000, with maybe $5,000 in annual upkeep. A business breaks even in less than a year. After that, it's pure savings.
And to see what that looks like at scale, imagine a massive employer like Walmart. If they were to replace just 10%, only 10%, of their workforce with humanoids, poof, that would be 210,000 jobs. Gone. This isn't science fiction anymore. It's just math. And that economic incentive for businesses is just too powerful to ignore. Now, of course, XPENG isn't doing this in a vacuum. The global race to build a viable humanoid robot is seriously heating up, so let's take a quick look at how Iron stacks up against the competition.
So here's the landscape. You've got Tesla's Optimus, which is still in its early days. You've got the incredible Boston Dynamics Atlas, which is a beast of agility, but really focused on industrial work. Then you have more affordable options like Unitree's H2 for basic stuff. Iron is unique because it's trying to hit that perfect sweet spot. Incredibly advanced, human-like interaction, but with a price tag that makes mass adoption a real possibility. Which all leads us to one final, pretty uncomfortable question. The technology is here. The economics make perfect sense. The production lines are already being built. So when a robot that looks human, acts human, and even feels human to the touch is the one greeting you at your local store, we have to ask ourselves, what happens when the robots don't just take our jobs, they take our faces too?